Well, thanks for staying with us and many thanks for keeping it Citizen TV. And a lot has been happening in the country that we want to take time to briefly delve into this morning. Remember, 22422 is the SMS line and the hashtag is Daybreak for all your questions and your comments as well. Now, yesterday, President Uhuru Kenyatta ordered a crackdown on all Bodaboda operators countrywide following the viral video of the sexual assault of a female motorist on Friday. The president also directed the registration of all motorcycles. He added that his administration has been at the forefront in supporting the Bodaboda sector, but that should not be seen as being complicit with the criminal elements that are hiding in the sector. I immediately want to get reactions from my guests here in studio on that and what's been happening in regards to that, happening at the same time as the world marking International Women's Day, and there's a lot to talk about in regards to that. Let me reintroduce my guests once again. Honorable Esther Passaris, Woman Rep Nairobi, here with us in studio. Honorable Gladwell Cheriot, Woman Rep Baringo, and Fred Okango, Political Affairs Secretary, Kanu. Honorable Passaris, I think I'll start with you. I think I saw you out there yesterday protesting against what happened, and let me get your initial reactions when you saw that video and whether the action by the president is what we've been waiting for.
Wow. Yeah, well, first, thanks for having me in the studio. When I saw that video, I felt totally disturbed. I shed a tear because this should not happen to any woman. It should not happen to any woman anywhere, in not just Kenya, but worldwide. But this is something that we've seen happening a lot. There's physical abuse, there's emotional abuse, and then there's undermining of gender, right? So what happened to her, we want to say sorry to her, sorry to her family, sorry to her friends, and sorry to every other woman that has experienced this and it has not come out, because it happens. My fellow sister here, Gladwell, will tell you that when we are on the campaign trail, sometimes we end up with youth jumping on our cars, banging our windows, insulting us, calling us names because they're demanding money. Those men who went to that car were looking to take whatever it is they can get, all right? And I want to say that indignified trying to earn, right, will never make you get ahead in life, right? So yesterday, I thank FIDA and all the partners and all the women and men that came, because there were men who also joined us, the he for she, as is our president. He was the first he for she to sign up for the campaign in Kenya. I feel that as a country, we have let the youth, and not all of them, the ones that are rogue, continue. And the Bodaboda has been also doing this. I mean, yesterday I was on Langata Road, heading to Langata Women's Prison, and there was a Bodaboda that was coming in the opposite direction, and he banged into our car, and he just drove off. He didn't even stop. So this is the problem that we have. They have total indiscipline. We have surveillance cameras in this country. Let us use it. But I really believe that we need to look at who have we registered as Bodaboda. Have they got the required licenses? Because I think it's just hop and go. You know, nobody has a license. And then we have to tell the police, especially the traffic police, it's time for you to understand that we need to be very, very strict. This country can only move forward, not when we have an incident like this that's photographed and comes on social media, but every single day. That little handout to let him go it might be adding up to a lot as you get home in the evening, but the indiscipline that it causes this country and the direction that it takes this country is not right. So we need the police to be absolutely strict when it comes to such things, because it can also be used to make money now. You know, you stop them, you take 100. You know, the Bodaboda industry is massive and it's got a lot of money. So can you imagine if you stop 20 Bodabodas in a day and you get 100 shillings, you've made 2,000 shillings. So we have to make sure that our police force also has the traffic officers are actually very disciplined and actually want to move with the country's agenda. The country is likened to an octopus. All of us have to pull in one direction to move forward. We cannot all pull in different directions. So if you rein in the Bodaboda, but you don't rein in the police, all right, and the public as well, we need citizens' arrest. There's so many people there, you know, that were witnessing this. And who was trying to save her? But I also have to commend the police, because when they got there, according to the statement issued by them, they realized the distress she was in. They actually put her in the back seat of the car and they drove her vehicle right? So that also shows you that we need police officers that have driving licenses because they drove the vehicle and took the lady into safety. So I feel all round as a nation and as a people, we all need to pull towards the direction where we have morals, where we have good character, where we have good vision for our country.
And off the back of that, Honorable Gladwell, let me also bring you in. We know that many Bodabodas, maybe not a majority, but a significant number of Bodabodas in this country are in Nairobi, but Baringo as well. I'm sure you'd have something to say in regards to the same. And she's also raised an interesting point about the concerns that women have on the campaign trail, but a lot of women online have come to say that they generally have concerns as they leave their home in the morning. Are they safe? Let me give you a chance to reflect on that.
Thank you so much. I want to first of all also refer to the clip I saw. The video was so scary. Being a woman, I looked at it and I was so scared. I even refrained from looking at it, and later on I started again wanting to see what happened. But you see, having had this happen in Nairobi doesn't mean that can't happen anywhere else. I'm one person who's been saying, seemingly, Bodaboda people seem to have one mother, because the behavior they portray all over the country, wherever they place, is just the same. You don't know when they want to overtake. You don't know when they want to turn to the right or left. They don't indicate. They just appear from any corner of your car. And many of these things, first of all, they are not safe themselves. Many of them, and you know, they are our sons, they are our children, many of them have been carelessly killed on the road because of those behaviors. And it is also something that we need to take a bit serious as a country, because the rate at which it's growing is very high. And without regulation, it's going to be something that can be very dangerous in the near future. Because I want to refer to a nearby country, which I don't want to mention, that it is a real menace even in the town. And I think it has gone out of control. They cannot even be given a route to use. To me, I think Bodaboda is a good economical body that is actually lifting the economy of this country. But then, how else are we going to do so that we make sure these Bodaboda people are safe? At the same time, they respect the rule of law. Because actually, we find them even burning people's vehicles. We find them doing very, very funny things. At the moment, again, the people who rob people along the streets of the town is the Bodabodas. You are on your phone. All of a sudden, you don't have a phone. Somebody has picked and just rushed away. So I think at the same time, there's this school dropout. Currently, we have a serious school dropout of youth because of Bodaboda. I've seen quite a number in the villages tell their fathers, instead of you wasting money taking me from Form 1 to Form 4 or in college, just give me that amount of money, you buy me a Bodaboda, I proceed on with life. And at the same time, you know, the way they even ride that Bodaboda, sometimes I get scared. You know, in our place, we have very funny terrains in the slopes of the roads. But you find a youth riding a Bodaboda down the road in a steep road, but bare, just bare, no helmet, no glove, no jacket, nothing. So you wonder, what is the lifespan of that youth? For how long will she or he, mostly he, continue riding on this Bodaboda in the same way they are doing? I think something must be done if we really care for our future, because these youth are our future. So, and then for the lady whose clip or video went viral, I really want to apologize to her, the family and friends, for it was so frustrating, traumatizing at the same time. And somebody was, let me just come in because of the insecurity in Baringo County. Somebody was saying, why does it look like Matiang'i took a lot of, he reacted so fast to that, compared to the banditry in Baringo County. You know, Kenyans are very smart and they were looking at why. But you see, I want to really say that it was worth reacting, because if this thing is left, it will be even more than that banditry. Because you see now, if women are going to be mistreated, these bodabodas are all over. Even in the villages now, it will become a menace. So it's something to look at it, and it was so much against humanity. But then I also want to take this opportunity to really appreciate the reaction that has taken place in Baringo County.
Okay.
Yes, and I think you'll give me time we discuss this, because it's a big thing. It's one of the things that is actually also putting me as a leader in a very, very bad situation.
I'll give you time to talk a bit about that. But now, Kango, those new measures that we were informed about yesterday, crackdown on all bodaboda operators countrywide, registration of all motorcycles. Knee-jerk reaction, is that the way to go? Have we been here before? Has it made a difference?
Thank you, Maura. I think, first of all, it's important that today I'm the he for she. And this is an issue that we must condemn as members of the public. And it is unfortunate that it is happening on a day that the world was celebrating the achievements of women and encouraging the women to occupy the spaces and hit the ceiling. That was very unfortunate. It was barbaric, and it must never happen again, not only to any woman, but to anyone. Secondly, we have noticed that while Bodaboda was introduced to ease in the movement within the country, to provide means of survival for our brothers and sisters out there, and also to just improve the economy of this country, it has also turned out to be one of the means that criminals and gangs are using to terrorize the public themselves. If you recall, Oiga, the victims have been even senior citizens of this country, people in senior positions. You remember General Karangi was a victim. You remember Kingori Mwangi was a victim. And the other day now we saw a lady motorist who was unfortunately got involved in an accident. And accidents, you don't plan for them, they happen. And then that's what happened. Now, the reaction from the government is welcome. Because if you look at the number of bodaboda that we have, there are so many. And at some point, I remember they were barred from entering CBD. I don't think that is still the case. But look, how come every time there's an incident, they come in drones and surround you? The first thing they do, they don't understand what happened, but they rob you. This is why the public are now crying and saying the government must look into it. So the measures that were taken yesterday, the order that was given by the president is welcome. However, it must be consistent. It must be something that we have to look at for the longest. Because if we just do knee-jerk reaction, as other people or the critics of the president would say it, then tomorrow Kenyans will forget and another thing will happen. We must regularize, we must regulate, we must ensure as a country that even we are moving to a level where we have got lanes for bodaboda and then they don't interfere with other motorists on the road, because that is the only way that now we can stop these issues of unnecessary accidents. Because when you look at the effects of unregulated bodaboda, we have seen early child pregnancies. Allegedly, that in the village, most of them are contributors to early child pregnancy. Most of them are contributors to the criminal gangs in the villages. So those issues, if they are to be addressed, then now there could even be now legislation around it. And for the members of parliament now should start thinking, how do we introduce legislation or rather policy, that will regulate fully the menace of Bodaboda, because they are becoming out to be
You're lucky that you have two people who can do something about it.
Yes.
You're speaking to them directly.
Yes. And even for those who are not here, and even for those who would be in those seats, like some of us, God willing, then we must now take it head on. And lastly, Waiga, the Bodaboda is not a bad thing, because it has enabled us to move faster. It has created employment opportunity. In fact, the introduction, it came with exemption on some importation on VAT. And it got to an extent where everyone could own a Bodaboda. But when they get to the training, it takes you 1 hour to know how to ride a Bodaboda. That is not sufficient enough to be confident on the road. So basically what that does, it becomes a contributor to constant road accidents. And then what follows, because there are so many, and you're just one motorist in your car, you witness what we witnessed the other day. It is unfortunate, it must be condemned, it should never happen to anyone, not only a woman, anyone.
It should never happen to anyone. Honorable Saris, before we switch gears, how safe are Nairobi women this morning?
Look, there are many cases like what has happened to this lady happening every day, probably not captured, right? Nairobi is a capital city. In all capital cities, you will have crime, all right? What we want is to have immediate response to crime, right? And then deterrent of that crime. So to say that we will get to zero crime, we will get to zero Bodabodas, because you see, criminal elements exist amongst us. People with a criminal mind that will wake up in the morning and get into an industry just to commit the crime. So one thing is we're safe in the sense that, look at the response that we had. The police were nearby. So that gives you a sense of safety, that they were nearby on that road. Number two, they sprung into action. There's arrests being made. Our judiciary will have to deal with it also. We need an efficient system. As I said, everything's got to work at the same time. We are here today. I don't want women to feel unsafe and to stay home. But you know, there's a time when we had globs in a roundabout and Thika Road traffic, people robbing, right? It's ceased because government made a response. So every criminal attempt in Nairobi will be countered by government and the police force. So we are safe, right? We are safe, but we also need to make sure that our interventions are very, very effective. Look at My Dress, My Choice. We went through a series of about a month of women being stripped, and then we had that demo, and then we had the police spring into action, people sentenced. You don't hear of women being stripped. Now, this incident that happened, right, in the car, and the way the youth behaved at that particular point has happened. Right? Now we have to respond to it. Women now should not, if you have an accident, until we are able to, if you see and sense danger, the police have said you can actually drive to the nearest police station. All right? Of course, don't drive over whoever you've knocked. You know, there'd be no justification to killing somebody who's in front of you. But if you do have an accident, the best thing is to get out of that situation. Other motorists should also be willing to stop, you know, and safeguard the person ahead of them. Because this is where I think we will take citizens' approach as well before the state comes there. But you are safe. Nairobi is a city where we try and ensure that everyone is safe.
Tell me this briefly, and I want Honorable Cherio to respond on the same. As more women aspirants out there aspire for higher office, what should they expect on the campaign trail?
Well, I'll tell you what, I remember in 2017, I went to campaign at the Nairobi University, and I found a group of youth that were there demanding money. They were not even students of the Nairobi University. In fact, one of the youth leaders at that time actually ended up being shot, you know, and he's no longer, he's not there anymore. But what happened is the youth blocked me. And at that time, unfortunately, because of political differences, I tried to call for support and backup, and I was not given. And they were demanding 100,000. It was a Friday. I was meeting the women leaders of the university. They were demanding 100,000 for the weekend. And they were banging my car. They were insulting me. They didn't want to hear. They just wanted 100,000. And that is what we find. Recently, I was in Langata with an MCA aspirant. And by the time we finished delivering what we were delivering to the mechanics, as as we were leaving, the youth were there, drunk, expecting money. So you know, it dawned on me yesterday that this idea that you need to buy your way out of a slum or you need to buy your way out of a campaign trail, you know, we've kind of allowed it. So whenever I have meetings, I make sure that the police is informed and the police is there. And the police are going to be there. Matiang'i has said he's going to give us support as women candidates, but every candidate deserves that support. So I think we need to reach a point where youth do not have expectations of handouts during campaigns. For us, it's not even handouts. We're not even giving them handouts. We are literally buying your freedom out of a situation because they will block your car. The Bodabodas will block your car. They want this money. So it's a tough place to be. It's almost dangerous. And I think the more we give in to them, the more we're actually yielding into elements of crime being grown. So I feel that as leaders, we should literally try and say no. I went to a funeral. There was a small fundraiser recently for Melab who died. And I just went in solidarity with the family, you know, and as I was walking out, 20 youth walked out with me and they all wanted money. So I want the youth to know something. Money is not to be given. The country is not yielding you as beggars. We've put so many structures. We've got GAV, we've got Youth Fund, we've got Iwezo, we've got Women Enterprise. The government has put all these structures in place. Get yourselves organized and get this money. I was in Ruaraka last week, and the youth, again, were demanding money. I said, apply for the fund. You have a right to apply for the fund. Organize yourselves into groups. Open a bank account. Get the money from the government, a grant. We give out grants every year of about 25 million. Why can't you plug into that? And you get 100 million as a group of 10 or 20, and you can do something meaningful instead of waiting for that 100 shillings or 500 shillings. So we want the youth to start respecting themselves and start having bigger dreams. And this is why I don't like this whole idea of making the bottom feel that, you know, you're a special lot that we need to look after and do this and do that. The government has been looking after its citizens from the bottom to the top. And the president said it yesterday. Somebody is going to come in and try and look at all this thing and say, oh, we don't like the industry, we don't like the mama mboga, we don't like the bodaboda. The government waived taxes to make the bodaboda affordable, right? The president has attended various functions of the bodaboda. We recognize the industry. So for me, it's please plug into the government projects and try and funds and try and make sure that you come out and build yourself, because that handout is not going to help you out. What Baba is offering with the 6,000 social fund is a hand up, you know, so we can help you get out.
Hand up.
Yes, exactly.
Honorable Chariot, what's been the experience for you on the campaign trail and the women face out there? I just want to get that perspective from you.
It's not an easy path for any woman while campaigning. But currently, like Honorable Pasaris is explaining, when I get out of a group of or public place where I've gone to do my work, my car cannot move because the number of youths hanging around the car, it's terrible. You can even cause an accident.
Yeah.
And you see, some of them are very drunk. They are hanging on your car. The driver is trying to get out of the situation. It's difficult. And they don't differentiate between this is a mother, this is a woman. They just see that you're all politicians and they treat you the same. And sometimes even they can be too much on you than the male partner. But then I think that's a culture that has been around for long. And this culture is bringing about a lot of, it will take too much time to really eradicate this culture. I don't know what we are supposed to do as a country. This culture is really, and you see, if you are not with them, then if you are not with them in this culture, probability of also being re-elected becomes almost zero, especially in the mashinani areas, because it's like, this is something which has been created, you have to do it, you have no choice. Like if you are 10 of you, 9 are doing, and you are the only one who is not doing, then you don't fit in the society. But then I want to really also say that it's no longer so much about the physical attack. The attack that is there now is about cyberbullying, and which is too much on women compared to men. The cyberbullying is real. It is working on women squarely, especially in politics. The society is not comfortable, especially when you have been dragged into the same. And I don't know what is going to be done, because it's one of the worst. It's so traumatizing. It is, I think the government, I've been wondering, is it that our government is not ready to really put measures and regulations that can protect people from cyberbullying? Because other countries, I want to refer to a country like Dubai, for example, you can't even attempt to really write either something wrong, put somebody's photo or anything about someone on the social media. But here in our country, it's dangerous, by the way. If you are somebody who really follows it day in, day out, you can easily be psychologically affected. And I think that is why many of the politicians might be sick. And sometimes back I was suggesting in Parliament that after having a physically fit center, we also need a psychosocial counseling center, because the things that members go through or politicians go through, especially in social media, is just and social media, you're not the only one who's reading. Like the Facebook, it is worldwide, WhatsApp worldwide, and your children are also looking at what people are writing. They are looking at the photos, the funny photos that people put there, some funny clips which have been created in some measures. Some of them are created, and sometimes some people you might be also not even ready to go home in the evening. You're wondering what to go and say to your family members. And many women have also been divorced. Many women leaders have also been divorced because of this. When you go back at home, your husband cannot believe that this is a lie. This is not true. So when you go home, they are like, no, we didn't know that we elected you to go and do this. So I think something must be done. Something must be done. Something must be done. Because I was even seeing people are not even hesitant to abuse even the president in the social media. I mean, where are we headed to? Are we in a society where we cannot keep decorum? People nowadays do not respect age. You find a Form 4 living child abusing a mother, a father. There's no age. I mean, we need to reorganize our society. We are not behaving so well. It is not going to. So for us women, and let me put, so that you can change let me put it like this. This is a women's position. But can I tell you something? This position of women is really worked on socially, in social media, fought by men more than any other seat. In fact, the people who abuse us as women in this position is men. You rarely get women abusing us. So we are wondering, because we have left all the seats, we are just on women's seat. But now, the war is on us again by men. We don't know.
Important point that you raise. And on that note, I want us to take a break. When we come back, of course, we continue to reflect on International Women's Day yesterday. And we're hearing challenges from women leaders here in studio and what they've been going through. But we also want to switch gears now. Take a look at the state of the nation. 2022 election intrigues. What is going on right now on the political landscape? Stay tuned for that. We'll be back with so much more on the other side.